Paul Moller's story is a fascinating chapter in the quest to merge our dreams of flight with the practicality of everyday travel. Picture the 1980s, an era of ambitious technological strides, where the Cold War fueled a global fascination with advanced machinery, and science fiction captured imaginations with visions of futuristic cities. Amid this backdrop, Moller unveiled something that seemed pulled directly from the big screen. A saucer-shaped vehicle that could hover, ascend, and maneuver with an elegance unmatched by anything else on the road or in the skies. This wasn't a drawing on paper. It was a physical machine, and it could actually fly. Paul Moller, born in 1936 in a small Canadian town, had long been captivated by the promise of flight. As a young boy, he marveled at birds and dreamed of a world where humans could take to the skies with the same freedom. But Moller wasn't just a dreamer. He was a meticulous engineer. By the 1960s, after earning his PhD and studying aerodynamics in depth, he had already begun laying the groundwork for his most ambitious project, a personal aerial vehicle. When Moller's M200X flying saucer was revealed in the late 1980s, it created a sensation. Here was a vehicle that could lift off vertically without requiring a runway, hover gracefully in midair, and then descend back to Earth with precision. The design was unlike anything most people had ever seen. Sleek, circular, and compact, it looked more like a UFO from a sci-fi movie than a practical machine. Journalists and onlookers who attended its demonstration flights spoke of it with awe. One account described the soft hum of its rotary engines as it lifted off the ground, steady and smooth, almost defying gravity itself. The M200X didn't just look futuristic, it was packed with cutting-edge technology. Its 8 rotary engines, positioned around the circular body, provided exceptional balance and control, while onboard computers handled stabilization. This wasn't a vehicle you needed to pilot like an airplane or helicopter. Its systems were designed to make it accessible even to those with no flight experience. Watching it in action felt like witnessing the future unfold. A glimpse of a world where anyone could rise above congested streets and fly directly to their destination. Moller's vision went far beyond building a flying saucer. He wanted to revolutionize transportation itself. Imagine living in Los Angeles with its infamous traffic jams. Moller's Skycar series was meant to free people from the gridlock, enabling them to soar above the chaos and reclaim hours of their lives. His plans included a network of aerial highways, where these vehicles could zip from one city to another at speeds of up to 400 kilometers per hour. It was a bold vision, and for a moment, it felt tantalizingly within reach. But dreams, no matter how vivid, often encounter harsh realities. Despite the excitement generated by the M200X, its path to mass adoption was riddled with obstacles. Air traffic control regulations were one of the biggest hurdles. Unlike roads, the sky is a shared and tightly controlled space, and introducing personal flying vehicles required a level of coordination that simply didn't exist at the time. Even today, the infrastructure to safely manage thousands of flying cars simultaneously remains a challenge. There's also the matter of safety. Flying cars must adhere to a higher standard than road vehicles because the consequences of failure are far greater. Moller's designs, while innovative, still required redundancies and systems that would push their cost beyond the reach of most consumers. Even though the M200X successfully completed over 200 test flights, skeptics questioned whether it could ever meet the rigorous demands of mass production. Yet, those who saw the M200X in person couldn't help but be captivated. In one memorable demonstration, Moller's team showcased the vehicle's stability by hovering it mere meters above the ground, turning it gracefully in place and then landing it smoothly on the tarmac. Watching this saucer-like craft in action felt like a peek into a utopian future, one where humanity could finally conquer the third dimension of travel. While the M200X and later designs like the M400 Skycar didn't achieve widespread commercial success, they left a profound legacy. The computerized stabilization systems that Moller developed became foundational for many modern technologies, including the drones and urban air taxis we see today. Companies like Joby Aviation and EHang owe a conceptual debt to Moller, as their electric VTOL designs echo his groundbreaking work. Even the design of the M200X itself left a mark. Its saucer-like form became an icon, blending seamlessly with the cultural fascination with UFOs that peaked in the mid-20th century. For decades, the image of a flying saucer has symbolized advanced technology and a world of possibilities. And Moller's invention gave that image a tangible form. Paul Moller's journey was as much about persistence as it was about innovation. His early efforts were often met with skepticism. Critics questioned whether his ambitions were grounded in reality or if he was simply chasing an impossible dream. Legal battles, funding issues, and technical setbacks threatened to derail his progress. Yet Moller never wavered. Those who knew him described a man driven not just by technical brilliance, but by an unshakable belief in his vision. Whether history views him as a misunderstood genius or a dreamer ahead of his time, his contributions to aviation are undeniable. Today, as we enter an era where electric propulsion and autonomous navigation are making flying cars a more realistic prospect, Moller's work serves as both inspiration and cautionary tale. His flying saucer may not have transformed transportation as he once hoped, but it proved that the dream of personal flight wasn't just science fiction. It was a challenge worth pursuing. Looking back at the M200X, it's impossible not to feel a sense of wonder. Imagine standing in a field in the late 1980s, watching this gleaming saucer lift off the ground, its engines humming steadily, its movements precise and controlled. In that moment, it wasn't hard to believe that the future had arrived. And perhaps in a way, it had, just not in the way we expected.